Hello, Internet. We are live with episode 188 of Voices of Revival. We are joined tonight by Jordan Guinn. Originally, we were supposed to be joined tonight by Ryan Prophet as we begin our 20 straight nights of just testimonies of Jesus. Um, Unfortunately, Ryan has some stuff going on and was unable to be with us tonight. Um, Impromptu, Jordan has hopped on, and we are going to discuss one last time the Awaken project. The Voices of Revival schedule that we have had for this week has been set for some time. After the setting of said schedule, the final Awaken gathering was pinned on the calendar. And normally, our normal routine over the last month has been during the week before the event, we take time and look at the event coming up and reflect on where we've been. Um, and it was kind of a bummer whenever we got the final Awaken on the calendar, and this month was, or this week was already scheduled out. So I count it a blessing that we are able to be here tonight and the schedule worked out. So Jordan, how are you, my friend?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah,
It's been a crazy, 4 weeks now, going on
yeah,
5 weeks, just getting everything, mentally prepared and a lot of prayer, and um, I mean, overall, though, doing really well. Just blessed to see what God's been
yeah.
doing through these events and just throughout the county.
I was thinking today, and I feel like I don't know how to. I don't know the best way to adequately articulate this. Um, this past month with the Awaken events, it has been very refreshing.
Hmm.
Um, it feels like we've been doing it a lot longer than a month.
Right.
It feels like this has just become like the normal routine, you know.
Yeah.
So I a month isn't that long, but I feel like we entered into this like micro season of life, and I think what God has accomplished over the course of this month, many don't see such a thing over the course of an entire year. So God
Yeah.
has done
Yeah.
a very, very quick work, and it's easy when we're going through the motions of everything to kind of like not see what's really going on. I don't know if we've really grasped what God has done over this last week. I feel like for the first time today, kind of like reflecting on it, it was like, oh, okay, God, I see, I see. So it's been very refreshing. I think we entered this short, quick micro season, and man, God has just done insane things. Um, this past Friday, Eaton,
Hmm.
I hated it because I was unable to be there. Had been to all of them prior, but unfortunately was not able to be there for Eaton. And I know conversations we've had over since last Friday. We've chatted about it, but talk to me here and now about Eaton, right? How many days are we removed? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right? 4 days
Hmm.
removed. 4 days removed from Eaton. What's on your mind as you look back over it?
Um, I think each event that we have done has been significant in its own way.
Yeah,
They've been unique in their own ways. And I think Eaton was no different. With working with Youth for Christ and working in Eaton schools specifically, I think going into it, I kind of had an expectation, honestly. of like what it should have looked like, and wrong or indifferent, it's something we do as humans. And so I think it went great. I think the Spirit of God moved throughout Eaton. There was so many people that were on their knees and just crying out to the Lord. Um, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I think we can get so caught up in the fine details that we try to
Yeah.
like nitpick at everything. And so we could have done that with any of the events, to be honest. But like I said, I think the Spirit of God moved, and I think it went really well.
Let's unpack it a little bit. What is it that what was your expectation, and what was the gap between what you expected and what you saw?
I feel like the expectation, I mean, when you work in that area, like that ground is tilled up.
Yeah.
And so I think the turnout overall, we had about 170. So I was very pleased with that, and that's more than just a number. Like there
Yeah.
was people that were there from oldest, to the youngest. We had so many people there, that I was honestly surprised to see there, just being honest.
Yeah.
And I feel like just the biggest thing is I feel like my heart, like just working with the students in high school and both middle school. Um, I, I don't know. I think it's so tough because like the way we want things to go, obviously not the way that it went. Like we
Yeah.
had two salvations, and that's great. Don't get me wrong; it's all worth it if there's one. But I think in my head, I was like, okay, there's gonna be like all these things, and people are gonna be like going crazy. I don't know. It's just like in your head, you kind of have this like expectation, I would say, in a way. But the Spirit of God still moved, and
Yeah.
we can't discount that at all. So
I've how do I say this? I try and go into things with no expectation. Um, I think I've told you before that like when I'm doing an event or something, when I'm
right.
working on something, like in the direct build up to it, I kind of have this like mental off switch where
Mhm.
like I don't know the best way to articulate it. It's like I have this mental off switch and I just stop caring. Like I care, but I don't care. Like
Right.
I will pour my heart and soul into it, and I will work my tail off and run myself into the ground, and I'll go without sleep, and I'll do what's got to be done, like I'll make sure everything is lined up properly. But I have this mental off switch, and my mental off switch is I know I don't control the outcome. I know I don't
Right.
control what's about to happen. And like I just surrender this entirely to God for him to do with it as he sees fit. I think
Yeah.
when we go into expectations, our expectations become like the measuring stick that we use to measure like the success of it. Um, I
Hmm.
don't, I don't know if I've shared this with you, but last year after Riverfront, I was talking with a mentor of mine that has been in my life for a very long time, someone I trust deeply, and like I love this guy. And like I remember it like it was yesterday. He looks at me and he's all like, "Man, all this is great, but what did you accomplish?" And like the question was deflating. And like honestly, like when he asked me that, I was already wrestling with that same thing. Like, what did we even accomplish? Like, we put in all of this work, right? Like, literally over a year of work went into it, like year one. And like, we busted our tails, like, huge in the build. Um,
Wow.
and it's like, what was the point of all of this? And if I'm honest, like I went in with like my own expectations last year. like what I deemed as my measuring stick. And like in the aftermath, people were coming up to me like, Brad, this is great. Like, this is so much more than I expected. I'm like, you have little faith. Like, this is nothing compared to what I was expecting. I was expecting more.
Right.
This didn't measure up. And so, like, I was just like deflated, man. But in the months that followed, like, there were just testimonies after testimonies that came to me, and evidence of lives that were authentically
Yeah.
changed, and those lives created a ripple effect, and countless more lives have been impacted. So, like, in the moment when I looked at the immediate fruit, it wasn't what I expected, and it was deflating. But like, I look back at that, and God taught me a valuable lesson. That lesson being my expectations are my thoughts. When
Yeah.
his word says that it's not even, like, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, neither has it even entered into the hearts of man the things that he has prepared for us. So, like, my expectations are my thoughts, but he has a better way that's beyond anything I can comprehend. I've learned to just go into things blind, man, and look for the God victories.
Yeah. For
You
real.
you shared two people got saved, right? And and from what I also, like, conversations that we've had, I know that some people you deeply love were affected, and like God moved in incredible ways, you know. So like, I would say, dude, just like those expectations you have, like, throw them away and
Yeah.
look at what God did.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. Like, especially the things that happen with people that I know. Like, obviously, we don't expect those things, right? Um, and I mean, I just think it's so cool how intentional God is. Like, just a lot of different dynamical things that are going on. I don't know if that's a word, but just so many things that are going on within just people that I'm close with, and for God to bring those people to an event like this and just completely wreck them and then wreck me right after. I was just like, whoa, was not expecting
yeah,
that. So it was cool. It was really cool to see that, and I don't know, it was neat.
we've got one left. Where's it at again?
Yeah, National Trail.
And that's like Indiana almost, right?
Yeah, it's really close to Richmond. Yep.
Oh man, I've not looked to see how far away this is from me. I'm afraid to look. I'm afraid to look, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm sure this one's gonna be a boot.
Google Maps. Let's pull it up while we're here on the call. National Trails. Ooh. National
Hour.
Trails Local School District. Directions. Choose starting location. Who's doing sound? Is that one guy with the screen doing sound?
Yep.
Cool.
Well, it's nice too because National Trail already has the stage. They have a stage inside their gym.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, it's kind of like a auditorium gym. I don't
Yeah,
really know. It's kind of cool. And then they also, I think they have a screen also, so we don't have to worry about quite a bit.
that's cool. All right, so it is, looks like 47 minutes away from my house. And if I want to come straight from work, it'll be 47 minutes from my work as well. Okay, that's not too bad.
I was thinking worse than that. That's not bad at all.
I feel like that's what the Camden Drive is for me.
Yeah.
Maybe not that long. And who's speaking National Trail? It's Chris, right?
It is Chris,
Yeah.
yes.
And then we are. It's tell me about everything that we have going on for National Trail because there's some like after stuff, right?
Yep. So with National Trail, we are doing the normal Awaken event from 7 to 8:30. Roughly, I mean, obviously we're not going to stop the spirit if it's moving.
Yeah.
Um, and that'll just be just as what we've done before with the worship and the message and the altar calls and things like that. And then the unified prayer over that specific school. And then afterwards, we're gonna head outside and there's gonna be some live baptisms. There's going to be live testimonies. There's just going to be a time of just celebrating everything that God did throughout every school in Preble County. Just really celebrating, kind of like what you said, honestly, today. Just I'm just taking a step back and just seeing what God did and everybody being
Yeah.
in one place to be able to celebrate that. So I think it's going to be really good, really
Yeah.
good. I'm excited for that.
Are there
We'll have
are
Chick-fil-A.
there baptisms already lined up, or are you just going to be like, we've got it set up? Who wants to be baptized?
We've got one right now that wants to, and actually that was saved at Awaken.
Yeah.
So I think that's super cool. We're probably gonna put a post out
Yeah.
that is a sign up just in case there's somebody else, but it'll probably be more sporadic, honestly.
Yeah. That's cool. Excited for it. Um, so we are standing on the doorstep of this final Awaken event being in the bag. Do you have thoughts on what's to come next?
Oof. Um, I think this was a tough question. Um, Even when Ian and I were planning this entire event, obviously we didn't know what God was going to do.
Yeah.
We were just obeying and being obedient in what God was calling us to do. And one thing I can say that came up so often was what's next? What's next? Because if you have events like this, like there's got to be some sort of like discipleship or
Yeah.
groups or something that's got to come from this. And so I think that's something we're still actively talking through. I mean, we're supposed to go and make disciples. And so I believe that it is discipleship, but I believe that that comes from everybody. That can't just be Gen Z. That just can't be a specific generation. That comes from the entire church. And so, I mean, it's been cool to watch Haven and Community of Faith and Youth for Christ and all these organizations pair together. But there's still so many organizations that did not pair together. And I
Yeah.
think this should be a wake up call. This should be a wake up call. Like you need to see what's in front of you. You need to see that these students and these adults, more than anything, honestly, they need discipled. Um, so I hope more than anything that this can just plant a seed and even empower people to want to do this in their schools.
Yeah. You know, I've been doing the Unity thing now for. Excuse me, dude. I'm tired. I've been doing the Unity thing now for 3 years, I think, on 3 years this month. And something I've learned is a lot of people just don't care. Like a lot of ministries, a lot of churches, a lot of leaders. Um, if it doesn't benefit them, then if it's not their thing, no interest. A lot of people, they will. A lot of people, like nobody would deny the importance of unity. But
Right.
if like the only time your unity matters is when you are doing something and you're not invested in anyone else, or if the only time you care about a unity thing is if like you're benefiting or you're seen or you have a mic in your hand, like you need to check yourself.
Yep.
And a lot of people, man, like they just don't care. Um, the unity space. When you delve into it, it is a beautiful space. It is a rewarding space. It is also an incredibly frustrating space. And sometimes there are people you thought would be at the table that are nowhere to be seen.
Yep.
And I think when that happens, you just got to let them go do their thing and build their empire. And while they go do their thing, look at who is at the table.
Right. Right. That's good.
The people that are like for real, like I think all of the like biggest supporters of like the things I do, they are all people that like when things were birthing and coming forth, in no way, shape, or form did I imagine that they would stand next to me and champion the things.
Yeah.
Like the people that often support aren't who we thought, but God will add people. And if we continue to be faithful, God will continue to add. Um, and unity space can also be a hurtful space too, right? Because like there are times when there will be someone walking things out with us that championed everything and they championed things for a season. And when the next season came, they were nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And every time that I have seen somebody walk away, God has added tenfold every time. I
Wow.
remember after Riverfront last year, there were some key partners we had that were basically like, "Hey, Brad, I'm sorry, but like I think we're gonna have to kind of distance." It wasn't anything bad. They just had things going on and like legitimate reasons, but like they were a huge partner, and like I don't think like Riverfront year one would have happened without them. And like when they stepped away, like it was like, man, God, I don't know how we can like move on from this. But like the team that was left, it was like it like solidified and like like pressure like forms the diamond, right, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like it's like, okay, God, this is the team, and like I'm confident that this team is going to be right or die, and we're going to do this thing. And over the course of the year, I have seen people on that team that like I was convinced they're like ride or die, right? Like they're
Mm-hmm.
always going to be there. I've seen them walk away
Yep.
for various reasons, and as they walk away, God adds more tenfold. So like God has a plan. His and it's not our
Yeah.
expectations. Like you're like we're kind of like talking through things still of like what next looks like.
Yeah.
As we talk through like what next looks like, what we're talking through is our thoughts, our plans, our ideals. And rarely do our thoughts, our plans, our ideals come forward.
Yeah.
Like God has a way that's above anything that we could think or imagine. We're sitting back trying to like figure out like, okay, God, what's next? And God's just sitting there chilling, like, bruh, I got this. Don't you worry
Yep.
about it. I'm gonna do it. So God has definitely started something awesome with everything that you're doing, man. And continue to be faithful, continue to steward, and God is just going to multiply and build and grow the thing. We be faithful to what He has called us to do, and He will just continue to multiply and grow it. People will come and go. As they do, bless them. When people go, bless them. And when new people show up, embrace them. In the end of the day, like the things that God has allowed us to put our hands to, they don't belong to us. They're His, and He
Right.
trusts us with them. So, so these schools, Um, you guys mainly so Eaton's the like school that you primarily work with, right?
Yeah, with Youth for Christ for at this time,
Yep.
I would say by next year we'll probably be in 4 out of the 5 schools.
And that's where I was going with it too. You say 4 out of the 5. What's the one that you're unsure on?
So honestly, we planned. It's actually kind of crazy. So um, we've been in Eaton now, and we were only in the middle school for a bit. And effective this school year, we were able to go to the high school. And then I was about halfway through the year. National Trail said, "Hey," I met with the superintendent, and they were like, "Hey, come on in. We'll get this figured out." Well, didn't really hear much back from them. So we're kind of hoping that Awaken kind of pushes that even more,
Yeah.
and like, "Hey, we're here and we're not going anywhere." Um, I talked with Twin Valley South, and they were the holdup this year, but they said to get a hold of them next year. So that's the one I say. I'm not sure. I think Shawnee's got something special going on right now, and I think that just as what Awaken is, I mean, that's Youth for Christ and FCA kind of partnering. I think if we can partner as well with FCA during their school year again,
Yeah.
I think that'd be really really beneficial.
So, Eaton, National Trail, Twin Valley South, Shawnee. Which one am I missing?
Um, Eaton Trail, Shawnee South, North. That's one too. Um, yeah, I don't know where we're at with that, to be honest. I mean, we've talked to them. I've sat down with their administration as well. Um, and they're for anything that helps the students. I think it's just, I don't know. I don't really know what the holdup is there, but I think next year we have a better opportunity.
Are there, do we, so I'm just kind of brainstorming here. Are there student contacts within all of these schools?
Yes. Yep.
Very good.
It's kind of crazy actually how many, I mean, even with Awaken, like
Yeah.
honestly, I've met so many people that I didn't know before that I believe are going to go into these schools and they're
Yeah.
going to make a difference.
The play might be like over the summer, like connect with the student contacts from the schools,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then like have things like strategically planned out that like week one of the new school year, have the students initiating like, hey, we're going to be doing this group. So in some of these schools, like such a thing really wouldn't be needed, right? Like you guys have already been plowing and eating, Shawnee's
Right.
already popping. So I'm not too familiar with what National Trail, Twin Valley, and North, what their programs look like. Are there any programs at all in those schools, or would it be from the ground,
North has LifeWise.
life wise?
Um,
I don't really. Are you able to work with LifeWise? Isn't that like its own like?
it's kind of its own thing. They take the
Yeah,
students outside of school.
yeah,
Trail has an FCA. We've been partnering with them. Actually, this is something pretty cool too. I just thought about this. They're going to be sending out the Awaken flyer to all the parents, teachers, staff, students, everybody tomorrow
yeah.
for National Trail. So that's a pretty cool thing.
Very cool. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah, I don't know. I South when I went, I know when I went to South, they used to have Youth for Christ there. Um, so I don't know what's going on there, what happened there. Um, but yeah, I think all of them have some sort of program, at
Yeah.
least one. It's just like, is it thriving and can it be thriving? Is
Yeah.
kind of the thing.
God has definitely blown the roof off with all of this, um,
Yeah.
and it's rippling beyond just Preble County, right? Like The students
Mm.
at Valley View, they're like, hey, let's do it at Valley View. And then I had conversations, I think, when was that? I think yesterday with a student from another school, and they're like, bro, we need to do a revival event in the gym at our school. So
Praise God.
we're a little late in the year for that, my friend. Not how many weeks are left of school?
Like
Like,
one, two, like
yeah,
not many.
yeah, a little rough. But hey, like let's hit the ground running for next year. Um, I had a dream last night of basically like what God has done in Preble County over this past year, of Him doing it in other schools. And like I woke up from the dream, and I'm like, at first I didn't think too much about it, and it was like, okay, that was weird. What was that? And like it didn't really like dawn on me like what God was saying through it. And then as I was kind of just like pondering over the dream, um, over the day, like it hit me like, bro, what God has done in Preble Shawnee, He wants to do it in other places. He wants to do it in every school. Like, what's special about Preble Shawnee? What made what has made Preble Shawnee different? Right?
Right.
You've been plowing and Eaton. What's made Eaton different? Why are these places unique?
Right.
There were students with a hunger for God, and then there were adults behind them that
Yeah.
allowed for there to be a space where they could champion what God was doing. And this dream I mentioned, I don't really want to go into too many details about it right now because I'm still processing parts of it. But I remember when I began to like it when it began to click with me what God was saying. I had this moment where it was like, man, God, you want to do this in other places. You can do this in other places. And like this particular school I saw on the stream, um, like I know quite a few students that go to this school, and I begin to think about those students, and it's like, God, you want to do it in their life. You want to do it in this one's life. You want to do it in this one's life, God. And like I remember just like when I began to realize like what the dream was laying out, like just the joy of the Lord in that moment.
Yep.
Bro, like we like Jordan, do you realize that like we just get it, like we get the privilege of just like pulling up a chair and watching God do what God does.
Mm.
In this in this particular dream, what do I want to say here about this? How do I say this? In this particular dream, like God was moving on this group of students. And do you want to know what I was doing in the dream? I was
What's
sitting
up?
in a chair in the back of the room. I was sitting in a chair in the back of the room, just watching God move. And there was this kid in this dream, right? And like this kid like gets up and he begins to like run away from what God is doing. And like he's grieved and broken, not because of God, but because of like the things he's going through in life, right? He's grieved and he's broken, and he just begins to run. And I see like I see God in this dream, right? I say I'm sitting back just watching. What I'm watching, like I'm literally watching God, like this person representing God, move upon these students. And when this kid begins to run from like what God is doing, like um, God just looks at me, and I look at him, and there are no words exchanged, and I get up from my chair and I just go after this one student that ran from the others, right? It was very much like the whole like God goes after the one lost sheep, you know? So
Yep.
like all I was doing in the dream was just sitting back watching God move, and then when a student went astray, it was like God's like go get him and bring him back.
Wow.
So, and it was processing that dream that led me to the whole what kind of how I was sharing earlier, how for the first time I really just kind of like sat back and processed what God has done over this last month with all the Awaken stuff. So like it was kind of hand in hand, like processing
That's
that
crazy.
dream and then processing this. But I take all of this to say that like I think God's going to expand the net
Yeah. Yep.
when we're faithful to what God does. God expands the net. So it's going to be a fun
Hmm.
ride, my friend. God's far from done.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's just getting started. Shoot.
What is it? So, like, what does it look like to go into other counties, right? Preble County? Like, what's it look like when we go into other counties? Do we need to rebrand?
We gotta take Preble County off that. Which is actually something that the Lord has already put on my heart
Yeah,
with Awaken without saying too much. Like, um, I know it's not just here.
yeah.
I know it's not. Um, I don't know what that looks like though. I think it could look like, I mean, there's just so many things. I just feel like,
Are there, so let me ask this. Is there like a Preble County, is there like a Montgomery County Youth for Christ, Warren County Youth for Christ? Do these organizations exist? If not, like rebrand as like Southwest Ohio Preble County or Southwest Ohio Youth for Christ.
yeah, so it's actually kind of funny you say that because so it's considered Youth for Christ of the Miami Valley.
Yeah,
Um, and then like we have Preble County and then we have Dark County and they're wanting to move to Montgomery County. They just haven't had like those available spots yet. Um, so I think like potentially, yeah, in the future they're probably going to be looking at that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Um, I think, and this could be my brain just goes, but I think it's bigger than that.
yeah.
I think it's bigger than even Ohio, to be honest with you. Which sounds crazy to me, but just like, what are you doing, God? I don't know what you're doing.
There's definitely like conversations that you and I and Ian have had. I think that God has definitely kind of unlocked a model here, right?
Hmm.
Um, the events are very public facing.
Hmm.
What's not very public facing is the work that has gone into these schools week after week after week
Hmm.
after week after week. Like this stuff just didn't like pop up
Right.
right over the last month. Like there has been groundwork done explicitly in like Shawnee and Eaton, right? Like just intense groundwork that has been done over the course of the entire year. And like at Preble, like Preble Shawnee, more familiar with the Shawnee stuff, obviously, but like with like Shawnee, like from like the get go, right? Like there was the FCA stuff, and then like in the fall there was the like field of faith, and like the field of faith, like to me, like it felt like a door was kicked in, and it's like, hey, we're here, we're not going anywhere, and then
Right.
just extreme plowing took place, right? And all of that led up to this capstone of this like blitz at the end of the at like over this past month. So
Yeah.
I think definitely like obviously the play like moving forward, right? Like these schools that like we have relationships with, what we've done with like Shawnee and Eaton through the year, like it's like a must that we like replicate these processes and
Yeah.
like plow in these schools all throughout the year, and then um, repeat the process. So
Hmm. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I think too, like events like these and fields of faith and I mean they have there's always so many events that you can go to. But without that groundwork and without that work before, I can't say that we would have had this. I don't even want to say success, but the spiritual success, I want to
yeah,
say. Um, just in these different schools, just salvations and rededications, and people just so on fire that it's like it didn't just happen in one night. Like there's
yeah,
been so much, but people don't see that, and that's okay. You know that we're no whatever, but um, that's the most crucial part, to be honest.
yeah.
Is that groundwork that goes into it. So yeah, that's important stuff.
Very cool. Well, as we prepare to wrap up tonight, my friend, any closing thoughts as we wrap up the call?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say, and we've got National Trail Saturday. It's not Friday; it's Saturday this week. Um, it's going to be at 7 till 8:30. If you guys can't come out to National Trail, at least come out to the Awaken celebration afterwards, about 8:30. And we'd love to have you guys out there. It's going to be awesome. We're going to see another move of God as we've seen, throughout the couple of weeks that we've been doing this. And we're just very thankful for everyone that's had a part in this. Just to know that we could all come together in unity has just been such a special thing that we have watched just unfold over the whole county. So that's
Amen.
what I got.
Amen. Those who hung out with us live tonight, thank you. Those watching via replay, thank you. Until next time, deuces.